Well, hello, hello, hello. It is that time again, you all, for day 4 of our Woman of Power interviews. Let's see who's going to pop on in first and be the first powerful woman to join tonight. I want to see it. For the past nights, it's been Julie. Let's see who pops in first tonight. Let's see. All right, those who comment the first to say hello. Miss Catherine, all right, Miss Catherine, you were here very fast, right? So congratulations to you for being the first one to pop on in. Ladies, come on in. You already know the drill, and if you don't, I'm going to tell you, make sure you tag that sister down below who needs to be in here because we have been blowing up these Women of Power interviews every day this week, you all. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, today is Thursday, and we are still coming strong. So whether you were here from the very beginning or whether you're all the way at the last leg of the interviews, I want you guys to comment down below and shout out another woman, invite another woman. Make sure she is here. Good evening. Thank you for the beautiful comment. I'm definitely glowing in my own natural glow tonight, you all. Thursdays are heavy days for me, but I'm so glad to see you guys here tonight as we continue to say no more. And before I dive all the way into tonight's topic, I just want to recap, okay? Because I feel like this has been like a mini 5-day challenge, but not coming so heavy with a lot of spiritual teachings, but just real good, meaty, healing, heavy conversations with some powerful women. And I know that I have been blessed by these interviews. I don't know about you all. Comment below if you have been blessed. Just say, I have been blessed. I have been blessed, because it has blessed me so much just to even come before you all for these 5 days straight. So just to recap where we have been, right? Day 1 on Monday, we came out the gate with Angie talking about no more passivity, right? And you can find the replays right here in the group, or if you're on YouTube, you can find the replays on our YouTube. Then right after that, we came with Susan about no more promiscuity. That was just amazing to hear from her. Then we came for the 3rd day, which was yesterday, no more pride. How many of y'all were here yesterday to hear that no more pride? That was off the chain. I feel like Maisha just gave you guys just double nuggets for everything. And we gave away some free gifts, right? Because you guys know we're saying no more as we're gearing up for the Healing for My Soul tour that's happening April 1st through April 15th. And I gave away some free prizes for those who grab their ticket. So if you got your ticket, comment down below, I got my ticket, because I threw in some amazing prizes for you all, which I'm going to recap a little bit on tonight. Some giveaways, some bundle gifts that were just amazing, that I really think is going to bless your life as a woman as you continue on this healing journey. So we are finally here for day 4. Congratulations, Daisha, you got your ticket. Congratulations, you all. Asia, everyone else, you guys got your ticket. We're finally here for day 4. And day 4, we are really talking about, it was so funny because I looked down, I saw my chat, and I was like, I saw the guests that's tonight chatting, and I was like, wait, why are you down there? You're supposed to be here. So I'm about to tell y'all who I'm going to bring up to the stage, but it just shocked me for a little bit. Okay, so our woman of power, she's in the comments. Y'all probably don't even know who she is, but she's in the comments. I just saw her comment down below, and she is such an amazing woman to come before you all tonight to talk about no more perversion. Put that down in the chat. No more perversion. She has experienced not only some aspects of perversion throughout her life, which we all have, but at the same time, she has become radical and relentless to be able to say no more. I think if she was to see the enemy face on, she'll probably take a knife and just slit his throat, right? Because she is so fed up with perversion when it comes to not only perversion in our legacy, in our life, in the pulpit, in the church, in the community. And so she's like the most perfect woman to come before you because she is not only here talking about it, but behind closed doors, she is producing something out of her belly, which you guys are going to know a little bit later on, to really come and say no more. So I am so glad to present and bring her to the stage. Y'all already know, though, before I bring her, we got to hit 325 viewers tonight, all right? So keep tagging another woman. Make sure we bring that heavy power to hit 325. Right now, we're at 200. So y'all already, who guessed it? Man, someone already guessed it. Let me see who guessed it in the chat. Y'all are just so smart. How are y'all so smart to just know who's already coming before us? Like, I can't hide no secrets from y'all or nothing. I don't even know who it was. But you got it right. We are bringing to the stage Miss Pastor Gail Whitfield. Y'all give her a round of applause.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. How are you all? They already guessed it. They already knew it was you.
I tried to type in the comments and maybe they wouldn't guess it.
Portia said we know our people, right? We know our people. And those who are in Dunamis Women community, if this is your first time, we want to just say welcome, welcome, welcome to this community because we're about to be your people as well because we are a tight community in here. And shout out to everyone who's in our Dunamis Women University. But Pastor Gail, I am so honored to have you for tonight's topic. Like I said, I didn't know who they chose for any of the topics. But when I saw your name, I was like, okay, I feel like I could be at home with this conversation tonight. So before we jump all the way in, a lot of people do know you as they're watching, but introduce yourself, enlighten us to who is Miss B. Gail Whitfield.
Oh my goodness. I am first and foremost a Dunamis woman. And I live in Durham, North Carolina. I am the Mysterion chapter leader. Whoop, whoop, Mysterion.
Yes.
And I am a pastor of a local ministry. I have a bunch of children and grandchildren that I love dearly. And I'm here to better myself, to break down all of the religious BS that's going on out here in the world. And that's who I am. I'm a warrior.
Yes. And so I'm just excited that you have your steps have been ordained here because I do believe that not only that you are a Dunamis woman, but everything that you have learned and gone through and process that you've been through is just going to, I really meant it when I said, sometimes I see you like with a knife just ready to just go for the enemy, right? And to be radical in who you are. So between you and my mom, I don't want no knives in your hands around me because you are fortified, right? But before we dive in, we're talking about No More Perversion. And why is this so passionate for you? Really where it hit home to where you're like ready to say no more. You are saying no more to perversion. Why is this such a topic that's near and dear to your heart?
It's near and dear to my heart, Ariel, because I've been a part of it all my life. My father was a minister, was a pastor, and I've been in church since I was 6. And I've seen it with my own eyes, and something always felt uncomfortable and not quite right in my spirit as far as how we treated each other, how women were treated, and all of these different type of things that I always knew that there was something different about me and my thinking when it came to loving Christ because I didn't see the love. And so I've been about this for a while, and I've been a pastor for going on 16 years now. But I've been ordained since 1999. And I was shut down. My mind was perverted. I was told, you can't do that. You're a woman. You can't do that. You're a woman. No man is going to serve under you. You're a woman. You're not going to be able to do this. No woman can do this, blah, 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 blah. And I just wasn't feeling it. I was always pushing, but in my mind, things were perverted until I came to my niece invited me, who's also part of Dunamis Woman, and my daughters and my granddaughter. And it was conquering the battlefields of your mind.
Yeah.
And I had some shit in my mind. And that it was perverting my thinking and causing me not to really rise up to be who that person is that God made me. Because
Yeah.
as again, perversion is an alteration of something from its original course, meaning, or state to distort it or to corrupt it of what it was intended to be.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
women, we were intended to be powerful. We were intended to be the backbone and the helpmeet and the warrior for our families. And it has been distorted where, you know, and I'm here to fight for it. I'm here to be radical.
Yeah. And you know what's so funny is that so many women, especially, and I wouldn't even say women, so many body of believers really hide away from discussing perversion because we have gotten so perverted in our thinking that it becomes something that's like, oh my God, are we talking about this? Or, you know, do we have to tread on this territory? And I want to ask you all, just to really shift your mind and really see where your mind is, you know, when you hear the word perversion, when you heard the word perversion, when you saw the text tonight that said no more perversion, immediately, what is the first thing that popped into your head when you think about perversion? I just want y'all to put it down in the chat. Don't guess it. Don't second think it. What is the first thing that pops in your mind when you hear that? Because growing up, we have gotten so conditioned to shy away and not talk about certain things, and we put it in the back burner. So I see someone automatically says sex. Yolanda says sex, right? Twisted thinking, something sexual. And so it immediately grips us, pedophiles, right? Sexual perversion, anything sexually related. And immediately we say, ooh, no, I'm not going to talk about that. I can't believe they're doing that. I can't believe they even tread on those territories, right? And this is the area where the enemy wants to keep us shushed, not talking about it, putting something over it and saying, hey, let's not discuss it. Someone said rape, right? We all experience these sexual things and we now perceive sex with perversion. However, what I don't like about this is that when we perceive sexual things with perversion, it's a very easy way for some people to say, nope, I don't deal with that.
Yeah.
Nope, I don't struggle with perversion. Yeah. I haven't experienced that. I want you, Pastor Gail, to read that definition again of what is perversion.
Okay. Perversion is the alteration of something from its original course, meaning, or state to a distortion or corruption of what it was first intended to be. And the other definition is asexual behavior or desire that is considered abnormal or unacceptable. That's part of it, but it's not all of it.
Yeah. So it's something that was originally designed, and I took it and I now distorted it out of its original creation to make it something that I wanted it to be based upon my mind and how I saw things to be. And so now it becomes used abnormally.
Yes.
Whether it is a piece of paper, whether it is a human being, whether it is, you know, I don't know, a car, I'm using it in a distorted way because I'm taking it from its original creation. So in that first definition, sex was not even mentioned.
No, not at all.
So what is the original creation of anything?
The way God set it up.
God's intent.
Yes, his intentions.
God's design.
Yes.
How he created us.
Yes.
So whether sexual activities will happen or not, am I really who God originally intended for me to be as woman? Or did along the way things inflicted me that has caused some distortion because I was now shaped based upon the creation of what someone else wanted. And now I became what my mama wanted. I became what my father wanted. I became what the church wanted. I became all these other creations. And I've now stepped away from my original creation, even as a woman.
Yes, absolutely.
Have you been there?
Oh yeah, used and abused. Been there absolutely. I love the Lord. I was a young girl in church, actually, and I was full of faith that I thought until I dealt with perversion from the pulpit in my home.
Mm-hmm.
As an 11-year-old, and it distorted me. I didn't know. Okay, what is this? This is not what God is. A man of God is supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so my mind has been distorted since 11 and a half years old.
Yeah.
And so then as you talked about it, the pain come, the shame come, the pride come, all these things, because now I'm trying to cover that up because I don't look like what I've been through on the outside.
Yeah. So that, like you said, that's where that pain creeps in. That's where that pride keeps in. That's where that passivity starts creeping in, that promiscuity. Because now my body, who I am, I'm just starting to do and adopt all these different things because I don't even know how to get back to my original state.
Exactly.
Which is why we're here for healing, because healing is intended for you to get back to the original creation of who God has called you to be. Healing is not just saying, let me just overcome the pain and move on and be something different. This is why, it really bothers me how loose this term healing has become.
Yes.
Because so many people are adopting it in their own way because it sounds good, or they can, meditate, or they can have their little, smoke and whatever that thing is called, or they can just say it and they can say, let me just isolate myself. And I'm not knocking a lot of that stuff.
Right.
But healing, like my mom always said, you gotta hurt to heal. And healing itself, it hurts.
Yes.
Because it's me literally stripping away everything that I have grabbed onto in my pain process. It is now me becoming and transforming into a brand new woman. And I don't even know who that looks like.
Yeah.
I have no clue. I have to be like born all over again.
Absolutely.
And that's why that humility comes into play. Mm-hmm. So what has that been like for you when it comes to you pursuing your healing journey and breaking certain things of perversion off of your mind? What is one thing that you had to first tackle?
The first thing I had to tackle was trusting people. The first thing I had to tackle was I was drawn really, and honestly, this is not even about, Pastor D, Dunamis Woman. It's about Dunamis Woman, but it came at a time where I was in a broken state. I was in a state, it was just that COVID, and I was ready to give up. And I didn't want to do this anymore. I was tired of the fight, actually. My fighter was broke. And then this healing challenge came. And it was hard first for me to really feel Pastor D, because I didn't trust that what she was saying, what she was doing was real. But I kept being pulled. God said, this is it. Trust me, trust me, trust me. And so for me, that's where it was. It was going into actually trusting I'm feeling something different. Something is moving on the inside of me. Why am I crying every time this subject come up? Why am I doing it? What is wrong with me? Something's going on. I don't cry. I don't cry in public. I don't cry, and that was part of it coming out. So now I'm just kind of a crybaby. I just let it flow because I understand that healing needs to take place. So they're in trust because I was betrayed so many times, and not so much necessarily by a lover, if you will, but just people I thought my friends, people I thought were with me. And so that's a hard place too.
Yeah. It really is a hard place to trust again, because like I said, when you're transforming, you're becoming a brand new woman that you didn't even know, you know, it really takes someone with a pure heart to pull that out of you. And oftentimes we don't even know who to trust, because the first person that we believe that we can trust outside of our family, whomever, is a pastor that can really, we can share our wounds, we can share our burdens, and that they will take that and they will be able to guide us and lead us as sheep along the way to where we need to be. But when that trust is broken, because like you said, perversion in the pulpit, and they have a twisted thinking and they have a distorted mind, we fail to realize that they could easily manipulate, you know, our weaknesses. They can manipulate our confessions to whatever needs to be. And this is why I love how you said, you know, I thought my father was supposed to be a man of God. But as we even learned on the Healing for My Soul tour, I think 2 years ago when we did it virtually, man comes before man of God. Yes. And man has been distorted and twisted in his thinking. So how can we expect sometimes, just because we have this title or whatever the case may be, that this is still not man, that this is still not someone that has experienced from a historical perspective so much perversion and twisted thinking that was inflicted on us as a race, that his mind isn't jacked up in some areas.
Yeah, I mean, we have to believe that. I truly believe that. Test the spirit and see if it is of God. And I've had to learn that, you know, because you have this, and I never say man of God and all that's just, you know, fluff and fake to me. And it is really difficult. But, you know, one of the things that he said to me was, when I'm in the pulpit, I'm the Holy Spirit is with me. When I come down, I'm just a man. And as soon as you get the quicker you learn that as a girl, the better your relationships with men will be. How about that distortion at 12 and 13 years old? That it's okay for a man to go and do all the things that I saw him doing, you know, and stuff like that, being married to my mom and things like that. It's distorted your mind. So in me, I was feeling Sue with the promiscuity, because that's where I went. It perverted me. It perverted my thinking that before I let you use me, guess what? I'm going to be the user.
Yeah. So I'm curious, because you're married to Mr. Whitfield, and when your father says something like that to you at a young age, and to say the sooner you learn this, the better your relationships with men would be, how did you enter into your relationship and understand the mind of your husband?
You don't. Well, I am now because I'm healing. You understand? But Stan is my second husband. So I was married 17 years before Tanya's father, and that was a perverted situation because, you know, I was raped. But I ended up marrying him because, to a certain extent, he loved me, and I can control in a certain way. But I was young. I was like in my 20s.
Okay, wait, you're gonna make me want to lean in on this one.
I grew up. Okay, so I had to grow up. I met him as a babysitter for his children. And that turned in my case as a friendship, because I loved his kids. And one day he sent them outside, and the next thing I know, I was being attacked. I was being raped.
So how did this turn? Because you said a key thing of I knew that it was something that, correct me if I'm wrong, he saw in you. So you had was it more of a level of control, or?
He loved me, and I was guessing young because he was 12 years older than me. So I was tired of taking care of myself. So he asked me to marry him. So I said, okay.
So how did your mind even fathom?
And my daughter.
How did your mind even fathom to accept that as love?
Well, he loved me. I didn't love him. I learned to love him to the capacity that I could in growing up because I was grateful. Because I saw my
Yeah.
mother married to a man for 38 years, washing his underwear, ironing his pajamas, all that kind of stuff. So I just saw my mom in my mind. So as long as I do this, I'll be a good wife. Because I knew there was no real love when I said I do. I knew
So,
that.
what did you do with the pain that you experienced through the sexual perversion? How did you deal with that pain?
I separated myself in my mind from it. He was perfectly fine as long as he was having sex. As my grandmother used to say, ain't no woman ought to ever be without anything with what she got between her legs. And that was perverted.
That is so, I think, literally saying that's a book by itself, right? Because I did not know that part. And thank you for your transparency. But the reason why I wanted to pull a little bit of that out is because perversion can become so normal.
Yes.
It can become our reality that typically when we think that, we see it, it's like a red light and we run from it, fail to realize that we can be living right in it and accepting it around us. Yours just happened to be with someone that you've experienced that rape, that became your husband. You got beautiful children out of that, situation. But for everybody, it's not, perversion is not so far off.
Yes.
It's looking at what's within my home, what's within me. I'm living in it.
Yeah, living it.
And this is why we're saying no more, because our eyes have to be opened up to truth about what's around us. It's time for us to start putting on the fake and the funk and saying because my family go to church or my kids are in college or they're doing good and all sorts of stuff, or my father didn't, abuse me or hurt me and I haven't been this, that we're not living in perversion. Every single one of us are living in perversion because the enemy is running rampant.
Absolutely.
In this era of time. And if you are deceived to think that you're not living with it, sleeping with it, breathing in it, you are fooled to understand, because it's not about the fact that if I accept it, it makes me less than. See, someone could look at you and say, oh, how could she be with the man that raped her?
My son-in-law asked me that question.
I see strength. What did you say to him? Because I see a whole other different kind of woman.
I just said, when you got time to sit down and have a conversation with me, we'll talk about it. It's not a conversation to do on the fly.
Because it takes someone who is willing to not only go into the mist, but come out and use that perversion, that passivity now for her power, because your eyes have been open to truth. And at the end of the day, it gives you more of a fortifiedness to say no more.
Yeah.
And that makes you more powerful than a woman who's living with it, but she wants to be in denial to believe that it's not in her, that it's not in the bloodline, that it's not around her children. If we want to break the curse of perversion off of our life, we have to be exposed to the truth. And I thank God, not only for my mom treading these territories and creating these avenues for us as women to not only heal and talk about it, but she didn't even shy away from the perversion that was in our bloodline or that was around us, because if it's around me and if it's in my bloodline, it's in me.
Yeah.
And that was in, for those who didn't miss the free bundle yesterday, a lot of that is in the Sex Ties and Strongholds ebook that I gave away for those who registered for the tour VIP. So if you haven't registered and you haven't got your hands on that ebook, you probably should go ahead and get it. All right? Because many people can say, Ariel, how are you so bold to talk about this different stuff? But when I know that the enemy has used this over and over and over again from a historical perspective, it will be less of me as a woman to not take a stance to know what is around me and be able to, it helps you even communicate to people around you. Because like you said, try the spirit by the spirit. And if you're numb and ignorant to certain things, how can you try the spirit by the spirit? If the enemy is coming heavy with spirits with a low S, then you got to be heavy in your soul with your spirit, the Holy Spirit with a big S. And if you're weak in that area, you can't try the spirit by the spirit.
Yeah. I have local pastors that say that I am holier than thou because I don't deal with the BS I see. You know, I call it out if they ask me. If not, I separate myself because I don't need to be a part of that. And I'm good with it. In the beginning, I wasn't. In the beginning, I felt all alone. One thing you have to understand is on this journey, especially when you say no more perversion, you're going to have to be alone. You're going to have to stand on your own, knowing that you got Christ with you, that you are never by yourself. God is always with you when you are going that path of righteousness, going that path of healing, going that path of being whole and one with Him.
Yeah.
And I've had to learn to cry many a night by myself and not have a friend. And that's when I really understand that what a friend we have in Jesus, Him. And a lot of people don't, younger people don't really know a lot of hymns these days, but those are my go back to sometimes. Like, what a friend you have in Jesus. I'm telling you.
Because it's so amazing. And so for me, I have a question because you not only lived, in it, but you have birthed beautiful children that you now have. How do you continue, or how have you found yourself to be comfortable to address just perversion in general with your legacy and helping them understand who they are, and just not shying away from certain things? How have you been able to be comfortable in your own skin as a woman to break the curse of what you not only saw from your father, but just even exposing them to the more truth that of what's around them?
Well, all I can do is tell them my truth and just share with them. And to be quite honest with you, I was very overprotective of them. My oldest daughter, when I did get married and go to New York, she wanted to stay and finish high school. And so I had to allow her to stay with my father. And I had to have a conversation with him about what I was going to do to him if anything ever happened. If he ever touched my daughter, then I would have to tell her, if you ever feel uncomfortable, if that, those were difficult times because she was a teenager and didn't quite know the whole story at that time. So really, I honestly, I was like in my 30s before I really started opening up about all of that.
Yeah. But that was even just powerful for you to even address that, to your father, right? And be bold and having those conversations, because again, going back to the fact that we shy away because we live in fear, or we don't want to say anything, or we don't want to be bold. It's not being disrespectful, but it's understanding, how the mind can become twisted. And the enemy doesn't mean that, those who are around us are bad people, but the enemy is susceptible to use anybody, right? And our eyes have to be open to that, because it's not about the sexual, it's about the distorted thinking. Yes. And that's really where we have to take a step back to look at what's happening in our mind when we even look at our men and how they're focused on, the money and that mindset. Perversion is also could be in finances. Yeah. Perversion could also be in seeking, that pride of what we just talked about. Like, it's so much that we have to draw ourselves back to say, okay, my mind can't function like this.
That's right.
Like, it can't function like this. What am I allowing to become my God, and what am I taking out of its original intent of not what it was created to be? So for you, one thing I want to ask you is, what is one thing that you have saw in your life that was out of order, and you are now committed to get it back in alignment and in order based upon perversion?
One of the main things is breaking what, starting with my own legacy, what religion is,
Mm.
breaking that down for them, because I see the enemy trying to attack them right now, going in. And so I feel like I'm always in warfare for their heart, and just going. But that's the one thing. And, Pastor D says it all the time, but I live that life. I live that, just religion, 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 religion. Oh, I got to do it. I got to go to church, and breaking the fact that we are the church,
Mm-hmm.
that building is not that. And trying to teach them from the slavery days that Baptists, Methodists, all those things were man-made. They're not how God set it up. So
Yeah.
having to go deep into that vein is where, I'm trying to get where I am working in right now, and letting my kids understand that, to my children, my grandchildren. They
Yeah.
are not the type of kids that they've been in church. They were all born in great faith. Church, all of them. And so they've never went to a typical church where it was a lot of all that kind of stuff. And actually, they told me, if you ever hear that from you, we getting up and we walking out. So, I'm not putting that down to, that's the way some pastors like it, and some people like to hear it. But what is it really saying? What is it really, encouraging the people for that? And so that's where my main thing is, breaking down religion and trying to develop kingdom in the people.
Yeah. And that's so powerful that you said that. And I'm glad you did, because that's why, the Healing for My Soul tour is so unorthodox.
Yeah.
And I don't want anyone putting it in a religious box of what you're experiencing, because healing is not, it can't go with the religious doctrines and the rules that have set. If it was going to work, it would have worked by now.
Yeah.
And it has not worked by now. And although Dunamis Woman, we are on a spiritual movement, but we are here to build the kingdom, not perpetuate the cycles of what religion has done. And so in order to build the kingdom, we can, Antoinette, you got a big name, hermeneutics. I don't even know what that is. Was that called hermeneutics? She said in the comments. What is hermeneutics, Pastor Gail? What is that?
It's how they present the preaching, how they present the
word. Okay. How they present the preaching. Yes. So I don't want anyone putting us in that box of, even when you come to experience the Healing for My Soul tour, because we're breaking every box. This is why we don't mind saying no more pride, no more passivity, no more perversion, no more promiscuity. These are areas that the church runs away from to be able to focus on, but they don't create a space for women to deal with that from a healing perspective, which is so key. And this is why you all have to, I cannot stress enough, get registered for the Healing for My Soul tour. Y'all gonna hear me talk about this on every interview, because if you're watching and you have not gotten your ticket, I do not know what you are waiting on, but this is such a time for you to be able to say, I'm choosing me, and I'm moving forward to choose me, and I'm saying yes to everything that wanted to come up against me, and I don't have to hide in fear, because I'm putting myself in a place where every woman has experienced what I have experienced, but most importantly, I'm getting what I got to get for me at this tour. And this is why the yes has to be so strong in you and not a wavering, because the enemy is not coming to play. But at the end of the day, you're wavering, you're saying, oh, I'm gonna let things go by. You can't do that. You cannot do that and still want God to be able to transform you. Congratulations, Amanda, for booking your room. So get your ticket at healingformysoultour.com, because we're coming strong. April 1st, virtually, April 1st, virtually, and in Atlanta. We're going to stream virtual, and we're going to be in Atlanta. April 8th, Chicago. April 15th, Baltimore, Maryland. And you got to get registered. And like I mentioned last night, we're giving away that free gift bundle. So anyone who comes virtual or general, you guys are going to get additional healing video series, as we, I think those videos consist of how to turn a betrayal into blessings, the Freedom of the Mind video series, which I think that you've experienced when you came in for the Conquering, and the Purified Vagina on Purpose. Yeah. That's the one that everybody really wants. So if you get a general ticket or a virtual ticket, you get those. But if you get VIP, you not only get those additional healing workshops, but you also get the 3 ebooks, Identifying the Charming Spirit of a Narcissist, because perversion is so rooted in that.
Yes, it is.
Supernatural Power of a Woman's Breast ebook, and the Sex Ties and Strongholds ebook. If you're VIP, you get the ebooks, the workshops, and everyone's going to get a free copy of Healing the Heart of a Woman's Soul book. So we're giving you all literally $100 worth of stuff for you to get a $97 ticket. For you, that you're still going to get a powerhouse at the tour.
Yeah.
That is like unmatched, okay? So I'm letting you all know right now, get your ticket before March 25th, or March 24th, that's your deadline, because on March 25th, I'm giving everybody their free gifts. And if you have wavered and you have not gotten your ticket by March 24th, you are not getting those free gifts. So make sure that you get your ticket today by March 24th. Make sure it happens. Yes. So in addition to that, right, you said that religion. I'm so glad that you said that, because my mom didn't really raise us in the church. She took us out very early on as she started pastoring. So I never really got caught up in the whole hooplas, hermeneutics, whatever Antoinette said. I never got caught up in a lot of those different things. And it allowed me to be able to see more so how God wants to build his kingdom, but really understanding his mind and the grief that is carried on behalf of people who are caught up in this twisted thinking, and they don't even realize where they are. And that alone, I'm just saying this for myself, but that alone is what made me want to come out of my own perverted thinking, my own twisted thinking, because I really had to recognize that if God is looking at his children and this beautiful creation of people that he's made, and we separate ourselves from his love and from who he is because we continue to feed ourselves in this perverted mindset, I didn't want to be one of those people that say, oh, I just love God, but inside of my mind, my body, my heart, my behaviors, I was perpetuating constant cycles of this perverted thinking. And I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
But that alone is what made me say, I got to come out of my shame. I got to come out of my dark hole. I got to come out of secrecy. And I got to start literally walking this thing out and not just talking it, which is what caused me from a sexual perversion standpoint, that promiscuity, that twisted thinking about how I view, people and men. Like, I really had to work through that because I wanted to be in full alignment as best as I can with the mind of God.
Yes.
And it helped me even treat man in a different manner, because if I could see man the way that God sees man, then I, as a woman, could do my part to not continue to twist the pervertedness, because oftentimes we view men in a perverted mindset.
Yeah.
So this is why we can't even build wholesome relationships.
Exactly.
Because we're talking out of our perverted, twisted thinking. We're treating them out of perverted, twisted thinking. We let our mind and our imagination go in all different types of ways. And I was like, I can't be that. If in the kingdom of God is man and woman, and he has built man and woman to be together, I got to see man the way that God sees man, because I can't let my perverted, twisted thinking now come in, which is going to hinder the love that I desire. It's going to hinder the family that I intend to have. It's going to hinder my children, all of that. So I wanted you to speak to that, Pastor Gail, with where you are now in this second marriage, right? How have you had to really catch yourself to say, okay, Pastor Gail, come out of your flesh, come out of what you feel, come out of what you think and what you imagine, and view things the way that God sees, based upon the man that's assigned to you, based upon the calling that's on your life, the sheep that you are leading. How do you step back and really kind of reshift your mind in that area?
Well, one thing I've learned since I've been here in Dunamis Woman is that man wants respect, and not so much our goo goo gaga love, but respect. And in that sense, I've been able to God has had to really rein me in, because for so many years after the divorce, and I was single, and all this, at being that woman unhealed,
Mm.
I'm protecting me. This is me. It's going to be my way. It's going to be that. And the one thing about Stanley Whitfield is that he always said to me that God prepared me for you.
Mm.
I thought it was just a bunch of bull, you know, honestly. But I knew that this was the one that God said for me to say yes to. And he was not the kind of guy that I would normally look at. He was not, any of those things in our mind that we figure out that that's what we want. But he was kind. He was loving towards me.
Mm.
He was, but it could have been a mask at the beginning, because I did see some little boy stuff, you know what I'm saying, coming
Mm-hmm.
in. But the Lord had to say, this is the one, and this is how you treat my son.
Mm.
This is how you do that. So there has been plenty of times where, I was not the best wife, but I had to realize, since coming in the last 3 years, that there was a lot of things I had to apologize to him for, because I did want to be in charge. I did want, because that was my life, was
Mm-hmm.
always control. I got to protect me, and he came through and he treated me with respect. He treated me all these things. And so in that, when you trust, I have to say this, when you trust God, when you develop that relationship with God, and you trust his voice, and you trust him speaking to you when he says he is the one, when he says this, even though he might act like the devil sometimes, and you hear the Lord say, don't give up. This
Mm.
is the one. And then you start to see the transformation. The more I respected him and treated him with respect, the more he began to develop into that man. But,
Mm.
as we all are still learning, he still has places to grow. And
Mm.
so do I. So that's the way I look at him, as Apostle D teaches us.
Mm.
I treat him like a soul.
Mm.
When I first became pastor, we were already married, and our pastor passed away. And so at the beginning, it was difficult for him, because now he has this wife. Yeah, I've always been a minister since I met him and everything, but now you're my pastor. And he struggled with that. And the
Mm.
Lord had to speak to me on that, because now it's this, but there were some issues that I was drawn away too much. And I have had to learn that, basically he's still my husband, and he still needs attention and all these kind of things. So I can't get so far out there that I think he's good without checking in with him and listening to the Lord say, hey, this concerning your husband.
Mm. It's so funny because you had said, when you hear the Holy Spirit and, he has already spoken that this is the one. I even had to check myself in that perverted thinking of how we even perceive the one,
Yeah.
right? We have often attached the one to be the husband or the person we love or the spouse. And a lot of us in our unmarried season are really like, is he the one? Is he the one? Is he the one? We're looking. But I really had to really shift my mind about the one, and really the one that's always head and in my life is capital O, which is God. And
Hmm.
so when God says, is this the one? It's not so much about man occupying the position of husband.
Right.
It's the one that God is using to draw me closer to be like unto himself, to transform me, to say, hear my mind, speak my mind, shift your mind, heal your soul, because this is the one that's going to make you develop into who I have called you to be. Whether he occupies husband or not, at the end of the day, God's saying, I'm sending, you cannot grow without people.
Yeah.
And so many times, I'm just giving that nugget for my unmarried women out here, because so many times we pervert the one because he did one thing wrong, because he did one thing, oh, he must not be the one. Because we're equating the one with man and husband when God is saying, no, this is the one that I'm sending to grow your ass all the way up.
Exactly.
So that you can understand how my mind is, that you can get out of your stinking soul and you can heal and you can treat my son. Because if you can treat my son as a soul, whether he's your man or not, whether he's your husband or not, whether he becomes your children's father or not, can you treat my son like a soul? Because now you are being used as a vessel on behalf of me, because we say all the time, Lord, I want to be like you. Let me be like Jesus. Let me do, what would Jesus do? All those different things. Yeah. But then we want to shun away from that.
Yeah.
And I had to really get my mind out of that, because we just move on and on and on. And we're even missing that big message of really where God is saying,
yeah,
I'm the one. Therefore, I can send anyone to remind you of who the one is, and that you should transform and become united with me as the one in your life. And we keep running to the next, to the next, to the next, because we don't want to be like unto Christ. And that's what healing really does for you. It shows you as a woman, how can I be like unto Christ to be used for in complete obedience for his will?
Yeah. You said it. That's exactly true. I told you, I was, and to those that are single, just don't be looking for them. Just serve God. Just look for God and all of it. Because I wasn't looking. And just walked by one day and said, I need a woman like Reverend Cummings. That was my name. And I flippantly just said, well, Reverend Cummings is single and free. And I went on about my business. You know, then it was weeks later that they asked me out on a date. You know, and to be completely honest with you, we were married at this point, but he used to cut the light off at the church because he said we talked too much. He used to cut the light out on the people. And I would be so upset, like, oh, but then that's that reputation, because now my pride is hurt, because here you are, the husband of the pastor. Y'all ain't praying with me in here today. And I would get angry and I would get upset and I would go, God, you send me this letter. And he would say, start respecting him. If you want other people to respect him, you need to respect him. Woke me up out my sleep. I'm whining and praying and crying and snot flying. And we just got to understand that he is a soul. He is the one God chose. So I got to trust that.
If you trust God. If you trust God, and we're not going to get all into the meat of that, because that's why y'all got to come to the Healing for My Soul tour, right? That's why you all have to come to the tour, because it's so many layers to this. And I can't wait to really dive into this more and more as we go and we come together at the tour. So before we close out, I cannot stress enough that you guys definitely need to get your ticket. Be there. Go to www.healingformysoultour.com. I said last night, even bring your daughters, bring your nieces, anyone that is maybe 15 or older, that you don't mind them hearing some radicalness, some rawness, some realness. As a matter of fact, they're already seeing it, so you might as well bring them all the way in. Because it's really going to be, I tried to get on someone this morning or later on, because she was like, you know, her daughter said she wanted to go. She's like, but I'm coming virtual. I said, if you don't get in that car and you drive to Maryland with your daughter, because she said I wouldn't care if you sit in the car while she inside. Go and bring your daughter to that tour, right? Because time is up for us. If souls are crying out and they're saying, I want to be there, we got to do what we got to do to be there. We don't have time to vacillate and go back and forth. So this is why I'm saying, if you're hearing and you're getting these nuggets and you're saying, man, my mind is being open, it's only a disjustice to yourself for you to not continue to keep moving forward and go to that, get ready for that tour. And so tomorrow, I have a major surprise for you all again for our day 5 interview. So y'all got to make sure you're here tomorrow to hear the next grand prize. And I'm going to make it really awesome. So make sure you guys are here at 8 o'clock. But before we close and say goodnight, Pastor Gail, do you have any final words as it relates to this topic? Because you're going to come out with something awesome. in a couple months that I can't wait for everyone to know about. But what are your final words? Any last words you want to say?
My final words is, first of all, don't get in your feelings. Don't take it bad when you realize that, hey, I'm a part of this perversion. I'm a part of this. Don't shy away from it. We just learned about breaking the pride. We just learned about no more promiscuity. All of that is tied up in the perversion. So truly, truly, just seek God in every situation that you're thinking about, and really look at yourself and stop. Oh, I'm the perfect Patty, or I'm good. That ain't happening in my life. And it's a lie from the pits of hell. It's happening all around us. And it's not just you, it's me, it's my family, it's everyone. And so understand that the healing from our tour, it's gonna break something off of us so that we can then continue to grow, continue to heal, continue to step up, continue to stay. I do have power. I have the power that God has given me. I can't come out of this. I don't have to repeat the same cycle, the same cycle, the same cycle, and break those curses off of your generation.
Yeah. Well, you said it all, and they are ready. Someone said, I can't wait to get your book. They speaking it into existence, right? So we are ready for this, and I'm glad you said that, because when you say no more, you are saying, God, open my eyes to what's around me, open my eyes to the truth, and open my eyes to my power and what I possess to be in alignment with you, to break and set your people free. No more doesn't just mean because you experience the pain face head on. It means that I'm saying no more. I want to be a part of this army. I want to be a part of one of those chosen ones, to continue to say that, God, expose whatever you need to expose, because I'm standing up and I'm staying committed to be able to break these curses and to be able to do my part to build your kingdom. So we can't wait to see you all. Pastor Gail, what city are you coming to? Are you virtual?
I am virtual for Atlanta because I'm doing a women's workshop that day, so I can't make it. But I'm coming in person to Baltimore.
All right, so y'all gonna see Pastor Gail at Baltimore, Maryland. You're gonna see me at every stop, hopefully. I would hope. So we're gonna see you all April 1st, April 8th, April 15th. But before you get ready for that, be here tomorrow night at 8 o'clock p.m. for our very last interview, which is going to be on fire. And I got some special guests for you all, guests with a plural. So make sure you are here live to be ready. And we'll see you all tomorrow. And if you haven't registered, get your tickets tonight, healingformysoultour.com, and you can get all the free bundle gift items, and you'll see that on the page. We love you all.
Love you all.
Thank you,
Ariel, for the invitation.